if you've been told you need radiation or chemotherapy, and it makes sense, but another part of you says, whoa, what is this? This doesn't feel right to me. It's not that you need more information, it's that you're split. If you make a decision from this split place, you know you're going to just tear yourself in two. So it's actually easier to get out of this than you think. And in this video, I'll show you how to get out of that internal conflict so that you can take your next step without tearing yourself apart. A lot of you know I've been doing the Bankston method since 2009, and I knew Bill Bankston since 1994. That's when I started knowing him, and I was there, you know, kind of in the wings with his mouse research and all that. And Bankston kind of gave me this mandate of saying he has a hard time treating people with chemo radiation, but you know, that shouldn't be a limitation for me. And since then I've found that I could help people no matter what degree of medication they had, like going under. But that doesn't mean I don't still attract a lot of people for whom Western medicine has not really given them a lot of hope, so they're looking for alternatives. And what I'd like to talk about today is that moment when you've been told you need chemotherapy or radiation, and a part of you agrees, and a part of you is deeply unsure. You're clearly grounded in a good scientific, you're level-headed, you understand the strategy for chemo and radiation. But you also have this intuitive side that you trust almost as much as you breathe. And it says, be careful. So you're getting this conflicting information from life. You've got the medical decision, you've got the like just let your body heal itself decision. And if you're somebody for whom this doesn't bring turmoil to you, then just go do what you feel like doing, right? Like, if you're, what this talk about is when you're in turmoil about this. All right, so there's a moment when you're told what to do, maybe chemotherapy, maybe radiation. Part of you says yes, that makes sense, that will help me live longer. And another part says, I don't know, I don't feel right about this. I'm scared. I'm not sure this is for me. And this is from like a deep place. It's not just I'm scared of the poison kind of thing. It's like that part of you that has guided you through your life that you trust is telling you, whoa, don't step into this lightly. So, for example, this isn't a life-threatening thing, but every time I hire somebody to be on my team, sometimes if I get a bad feeling about it, sometimes in the past I've overridden it because they look so good on paper and they interviewed so well. And sure enough, like 3 months later, after I've spent all this time training them and getting them to know all my systems, something happens that just, you know, my intuition was picking up on, but you know, surprised me. And then I have to start over again. And so I've learned to trust that part of me. So if that part of me was saying, be careful, I have learned in my old lady wisdom to pay attention to that. So if that's you, you're torn, like you, of course what the doctors are saying makes sense, but of course every single time you've gone against your sense of what's deeply true for you, you've had a bad time of it. So you're torn. But if you go over here, you're thinking, what if I'm naive? What if I'm mistaken? I'm basing my life on an intuitive feeling. How crazy is that? So you're torn. Okay, you're split. It feels like you're standing in a fork in the road, because if you trust your intuition and you're wrong, you might just crash and burn and die very quickly. and maybe you don't want that. Or you're over here. What if your intuition is telling you that of all the people that this protocol works for, you're not one of them? And even though it makes sense on paper, and people are very well-meaning, and they've got a lot of clinical experience, so you're not sure about either alternative, because they both feel so strong in their authority that you've internalized. All right, so one of the things about cancer is, and one of the reasons I actually respect working with it, is that there are so few guarantees. It doesn't behave neatly. It doesn't stay contained. It creates chaos in the body, and it creates chaos in your thinking. That's the disease. Because everything outside of you is uncertain, and you're almost forced to find something inside you that you can actually stand on. So this is not instead of getting advice, not instead of listening to your doctors or your loved ones, but you need to find something in you that doesn't collapse every time the information changes. So the question becomes not which side to choose, it becomes how to stand in the middle of all that. And when I say stand in the center, I don't mean a mindset. I don't mean be positive or be calm or figure it out. It's not an emotional stance. You can be trembling in confusion. It's not like you're coherent and like, oh, this is the right way to go. You can be trembling in confusion. But the place you stand is a location. And you can do it right now, and I'm going to show you where it is. Okay? So you don't have to be morally pure. You don't have to be spiritually enlightened. You don't have to have no bad habits. You just have to go to a place in your awareness. I'm going to show you where it is right now. So it's a place in your body. So let's try this exercise. Imagine the situation you're in. You've got this conundrum, right? And instead of trying to solve it, just feel it. And notice where you feel it. Do you feel it in your heart? Is your heart aching? Is your solar plexus aching? Is it out in front of you where you're feeling it? It's almost as if you've got this thing in front of you that's like, I gotta do this. All right, so just let it be wherever it is. This is gold, by the way. If you're just kind of like sliding into the talk and waiting for the real thing to happen, this is the real thing. So now just let this conundrum be there. You can maybe imagine it like a swirling thing of complementary colors, like black and white or blue and orange, or like opposites somehow in this ball of a big problem. And just notice where in your body you feel this conundrum. And now I'm like you to let your awareness lean back a bit. So your awareness is aware of your conundrum, but it's also aware of resting against your spine. It's a location. So instead of being out here like I gotta figure it out, or like, oh, it's in my gut, or it's in my stomach, or it's in my heart. I guess the gut and the stomach are the same thing. Put your awareness along right in front of your spine, so you're behind the problem. You're behind your heart, you're behind your gut. You're back there. Like something behind you is supporting you. You can do this if you're standing up, sitting down, lying down. You're just aligning your awareness with the support of your spine. It's like something behind all this conundrum is supporting you. You're not pushing forward trying to figure it out, and you're not collapsing into, well, maybe it doesn't matter, You're leaning back into yourself. It's a metaphor for the part of you that can support you no matter what life brings to you. if you think of it in a metaphor, it won't work. You have to think of it as a location. Okay, good. And just to be clear about my role in this, while you're standing there, I'll just talk a little bit. Just kind of feel, experience what it's like to have your awareness leaning against. The video keeps pausing. Maybe the horse hurt my Starlink more than I thought. It worked okay though before. So maybe it's something else. Usually my Starlink is super reliable. Okay, anyway, my role in this, I work one-on-one with people and I don't tell them what to do, like what their treatment plan is. I give simple drills like this and that help them decide from this place of inner authority. So I've worked with people who chose full chemotherapy or radiation and did very, very well. And I've using energy medicine, right, to support their process. Like one of my best cancer recoveries was somebody who just fresh out of chemo with 4-stage ovarian cancer. And she, was like surprised the doctors and all that. But I've also been with people who on both sides did not do very well. And that's clearly part of my experience if it's specializing in cancer. So I'm not the person to tell you what path to take, but I can show you how to find this place in you where you can take a step and stand behind it. And sometimes when I'm working with people, we do this as like the beginning step, and then I give them additional practices. So hopefully just this much will give you an aha, and that will be what you need to make a decision with. But a lot of what I do is the Bankston method, but a lot is a way of working with your attention to help you feel supported while you're in your process. So the first step is that location. And now what happens for most people when they do that, even for a few seconds, is that something shifts, like magically. It's like you're still aware of both sides. The conundrum's still there. You're very aware of your fear. You might be trembling in confusion, like I said before. And you're very aware of there's this bright, happy hope place that tells you you don't have to poison yourself. And you're very aware of the uncertainty, that you're no longer choosing which one to grasp. You're not trying to resolve it immediately. You're holding it instead of fighting it. And from that place, your thinking often gets clearer. It's like something comes in that you just wasn't available to you when you were going like this. Deep, 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 deep. And it's not that your thinking got clear because you analyzed both of the alternatives clear. It's because you stopped interfering with the process that happens when you have opposites colliding. The goal is not to just ping-pong yourself, it's to hold it. And when you can just hold the opposites, something new, almost always, I would say that it's law, something else emerges. It's super reliable. All right. So once again, I'm not opposed to either one of these. I'm not telling you to ignore your intuition or ignore the doctors. I'm giving you a trick, a tool, a location where it makes this whole easier. Okay, and this back and forth is part of the suffering of cancer. It really makes the disease so much worse. And that's as easy as finding a location where you don't have to engage in that. And it's my deep desire that this little video can actually give you that experience. I mean, you have to follow what I'm telling you to do, right? All right, so once again, the goal is not to find the right answer. The goal is to become not split while you're making the decision. And when you're not split, the decision becomes less about what's the right decision, but more about, can I stand behind this decision? And you can't stand behind a decision if you're locked in the polarity. You have to be away from it and say, no, I'm going to choose that one. Or I'm going to choose that one. But if you're locked in the polarity of the push-pull, almost whatever you choose is not going to work very well, because you're still going to be like, oh, second-guessing yourself. But if you stand back, I swear, it's just like 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours tops of watching the conundrum, and something will emerge which will give you what you need to decide. All right, so I'm looking at my notes here. Oh, aloneness. Okay, I was going to talk about aloneness. At some level, these big decisions are made alone. Not because you don't have support, but because no one can stand in your place and take that step for you. And it's my honor to support people through these moments. That there's nothing like a cancer diagnosis to put the most important conflicts right in your face. And when you are facing this decision, it can almost feel like you're falling. But if you can do this exercise of putting your location of your awareness along your spine, whether your awareness is scattered or in conflict, you can just pull it back there. This is where something can hold what's happening. And again, it's not you achieving a coherent state. You're just holding your authenticness, your honesty, your deeply, deeply honest sense of things. And when you're resting against your spine, the same way, you're with yourself. And that's often the missing piece, and it's as easy as a location. And when you're with yourself, your capital S self, and you move, it's just a whole different experience. It took 5 extra minutes with that, so let's do the distance healing now. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to go into a guided visualization which will create a resonant bond where we'll go into an inner sanctuary, and you can join us in the Spirit Gate Cancer Support Facebook group. Please like and subscribe, comment. It creates resonance, does good things, helps me connect with people, helps you connect with people, because we need each other.